What is slowly phasing out in 2022? 24-hour Walmarts. I think my brain is losing the battle. I can still perform complex and creative feats, but I just zone out sometimes and need to do nothing. Privacy. My desire to work in kitchens. It's been rough for a while, but the pandemic and the pay has really put a new light on everything. Biomass and biodiversity. Affordable food at the grocery store. Smiling face with tear. It's fine, it's not like I need food to survive. What are some harmless ways to fuck with people? When cold called, make your only response, "What?" in varying tones. Once got to almost 5 minutes with an Indian guy from some insurance scam call center before being told to F***ck off. Phone has been pretty silent since then. Alternate approach. Say, "Okay, hold on a sec." Lay the receiver down and see how long they are prepared to wait on the chance you're coming back. Good times. When you shake someone's hand, move yours left to right, as they do the traditional up and down. A hilarious circle ensues. I put a tiny piece of masking tape over my coworker's mouse laser on April Fool's Day one year. Wrote, "April Fools," on it. He troubleshot every single thing except examining the mouse. He eventually called IT, who simply turned the mouse over and pointed it out to him. I know someone who always takes an item to a party and leaves it somewhere in the house. I.e. a trinket, tchotchke. Whenever I visit my extended family across the country, I bring a bag full of random remotes that I don't use anymore. Just random remotes that go to old DVRs or anything really. Just hide them around their house. They only recently caught on. Carefully step over a non-existing obstacle. What's the worst punishment you've received or witnessed? My father used to turn off the plumbing and running water for days if we pissed him off. No idea how he did it. He also used to do shit like hide food from us or wake us up at 2 a.m. on a school night to clean. Coke fucks you up, man. When I was a freshman in high school, my choir was invited to sing at Disneyland. We spent a lot of time fundraising and I had to earn all of the money to go because my family is poor. So like a week before Disneyland progress reports go out and I for some reason have a C- in PE. My parents flip the fuck out, tell me I'm not going. Call my choir teacher and tell her I'm not going and to give my money to somebody else. And ground me for a month. The next day at school I approach my PE teacher to find out what the fuck happened and he tells me that he made a mistake. He marked my thing wrong. He looked at the gradebook wrong and he made a mistake. He called my parents. My choir teacher called my parents. The fucking principal called my parents. And they said no, that I still couldn't go because they weren't going back on a punishment. My mother dragged me out of the house by the hair and I was begging her to stop, but she didn't. When my father got home I thought he would help, but instead told me that I deserve it. One time I said gaming to my teacher and they thought I said gay to them, so I got detention. Back-talking my mother resulted in getting hit extremely hard in the testicles with a thin leather strap used for a purse. Best way I can explain the feeling is, it felt like I had been severely burned for a few days. Couldn't piss without it hurting. There's punishment. Then there's child abuse. When I was about 7 or 8 we moved across the country to a new state. Not really relevant, but it added to how awful all this was. We lived in this huge gated apartment complex with like 20 or more huge buildings. Initially I was pretty much left to wander as far as I wanted within the community. We were on the top floor of a 2-story building. And for whatever reason the cranky lady under us hated me. Like I'm sure as a kid I sometimes got loud and obnoxious, but everyone my entire life has told me I was by far the calmest, most well-behaved child they knew. Fear of severe punishment from an abuser will do that. Well, for whatever reason, this lady decided to spend all of her time watching me and reporting me to the management all the time for shit I either wasn't doing or had been forced to do by my parents. The list included littering. I had to take the trash out. The dumpster was probably a block or so from our building. Shitty stepdad overfilled the bag and it broke on the way. I picked up what I could, moved the rest out of the sidewalk and went back to home and got a bag for the rest and threw it all away, but I guess leaving it there for the 2 minutes it took me to go get a bag to clean it up is littering. Trespassing in her yard. We had a balcony as second story and she had a tiny little fenced off backyard. My younger siblings would throw toys, bottles etc. over our balcony into her yard. They forced me to go get them. I tried asking her the first few times, but after having the door slammed in my face, my parents would force me to hop her fence, grab the toys and go. Tampering with the sprinklers. I don't know where she got that one. I guess 'cause I was like 8 and ran around outside. I never touched the stupid sprinklers 'cause I thought the water from them was gross, among other weird accusations. So management sends a final warning to my parents. If they don't get me in line, they get evicted. Lead to my mom breaking like 2 wooden spoons over my ass. And then being grounded for about 9 months. Like not allowed to leave the house ever for any reason. I was homeschooled, as well as no electronics or toys or anything fun, or you know what a child would enjoy. Even after they relaxed on it and I got things back and was allowed to leave the apartment, I was only allowed in the front yard where my mom could see me for about another 6 months. Coincidentally ended around the time she put me in public school to focus on raising my younger siblings. What was your favorite cartoon growing up? Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, Pokemon, Kim Possible, Ed, and Eddie. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It still is my favorite thing to watch today. Must have seen it all at least a couple dozen times by now. What is the general mood in your country right now? The U.S. government announced that there is information of a terrorist attack being planned for the 29th of this month at the biggest mall in Africa, Santon City. So half the population are making jokes about it and the other half are wondering why our government officials are not taking it seriously. I would say poverty if that was a mood. I feel like all everyone talks about is the prices that are going up. Terrible. Prices are rising at an incredible rate. Constant problems with electricity, loud sirens and finally the sound of explosions as an alarm clock. Hello from Ukraine. Sadness, depression, anger, darkness generally, but a little hope for a day for this to change. It's Iran, by the way. Hashtag women life freedom. Frustration at all those elections. The serfs are getting ornery and the ruling lords are responding by doubling down on their oppression. What's the first thing you do once you get home? Shoes off. Put down my stuff and then say hi to the dogs, of course. Sit in my car for 40 minutes questioning life choices. Go to cats. Cyberbully people on Reddit. Greeting my cats and cuddling them. Subscribe, my brothers.